Now at 10, community members gathered in Joplin to march for Jesus. Plus, the community of Carthage came together today to honor the memory of Officer Lane Burns. And Memorial Day weekend is a time to remember our nation's fallen veterans. We'll show you how one city honors them.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Carrie Worthen. The inaugural Worldwide March for Jesus has been held since the early 1990s. The annual march took this morning in Joplin. This is a worldwide march for Jesus. The last time Joplin participated in the march was 1996 with about 3,000 people. People marched with praise music north on Main to Landreth Park and held a worship service there. Pastors from all over the region joined to pray within prayer tents, and even baptisms were held. The community of Carthage came together today in honor of the memory of Officer Lane Burns, who tragically lost his life in the line of duty last year. Carthage residents held a somber yet heartfelt remembrance ceremony at the local park, paying tribute to Officer Burns' dedication, bravery, and selflessness.
I mean, he paid the ultimate sacrifice, and we just want to honor him and his memory and his legacy. And I mean, although he wasn't serving here in this area, our community, he did grow up here, and this was always home for him.
Over 600 people attended the event. Memorial Day weekend is a time to remember our nation's fallen veterans. CBS News Los Angeles reporter Tina Patel is at the Los Angeles National Cemetery.
Thousands of volunteers are here at the cemetery putting flags on the grave of each service member who's laid to rest here. There is more than 90,000 of them. This troop here is from Valley Village. They are putting flags in this area. And they say they feel very proud to be able to not only put a flag, but to take a moment and thank everyone for their service. We had a chance to talk to an Eagle Scout earlier this morning about why they felt it was important to have a tradition like this each year.
There have been so many people who have given up their lives for us to be able to celebrate our freedoms. And oftentimes I feel like in a way they're overlooked or forgotten, and we need to make sure that that doesn't happen and that they're honored.
It will take a few hours for the volunteers to get all the flags here. They will be up until Tuesday if people want to come and pay their respects at the LA National Cemetery. Tina Patel, KCAL News.
Chicago hosted a wreath-laying ceremony to honor Gold Star families of Chicago. Gold Star families are people who have lost a direct family member in the line of service. After this wreath-laying ceremony is in the Chicago Parade honoring service members.
We are glad Chicago is recognizing the need to support all of our families, particularly those families who have given the ultimate sacrifice.
Gold Star families mean the loss of a loved one in service, while Blue Stars mean they families have a loved one in active duty. Now we're going to join Chloe Arroyo in the Weather Center.
Yes, it was a beautiful day and continuing to be a beautiful evening in Joplin. We're hanging around in the 60s, 65 degrees as it stands. We're a little on the drier side, although as the sun went down, that humidity went up a good 20%. We're at 56% as it stands. Overall, still very comfortable outside. Temperatures in the upper 60s, lower 70s, Miami at 70, Joplin 65, as well as Iola. You're hanging at 65 as well. So if you want to get out this evening, there's still time to do so. Now coming up here in a bit, we're going to go a little further in depth on those drought conditions, as well as when we could see the next chance for rain sporadically throughout the week. I'll have the timeline on that, and I'll also have your Memorial Day forecast. That'll all come up here in just a bit. Back to you, Carrie.
Thanks, Chloe. Ahead of the Memorial Day, a special exhibit has returned to the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to honor the hundreds of thousands of American service members killed in combat since the First World War. As Natalie Brand reports, visitors to the exhibit are stopping to reflect on the meaning of the holiday.
They can't be here, so I want to do everything I can do to try to be here for them.
This wall shows the size of sacrifice, more than 645,000 poppies, symbolizing the U.S. lives lost in service since World War I.
It's a very somber moment for me. You know, I've placed about 57 coins on caskets that are draped with the American flag. It's very special for me.
Air Force veteran Joe Sluder, now a military affairs representative for the USAA Poppy Wall of Honor, says this year's exhibit also marks 50 years since the U.S. exit from Vietnam, where his father served 2 tours.
I would have loved to be able to walk him through, hand in hand, and take him through each of the sections.
Those who can't visit the wall in person can still post a tribute honoring a loved one online using the hashtag #PoppyInMemory, and it will be shared here.
Seeing this wall, you see the numbers put with the different wards and things like that, and it's hard to comprehend.
Visitors say they're struck by how many Americans have died serving.
It's really impressive to see all the history that's out here and think of all the things that they've been done for us.
We have so many that have paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we can be free and practice and live in a free world, democratic world. Just don't forget.
Command Chief Master Sergeant Sluder says it's something to remember not just on Memorial Day, but every day. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The Poppy Wall of Honor will be in Washington, D.C. through the weekend at the base of Lincoln Memorial. There are also 2 smaller exhibits at the USS Lexington Museum in Corpus Christi and the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach. Coming up, a little girl in desperate need of her thyroid medication and the action one reporter went to get her help. Plus, U.S. officials say the number of migrants approaching the southern border has significantly dropped following the end of the pandemic era. A 2-year-old migrant girl was living with her family at a Chicago police station without her thyroid medication and had small masses forming under her skin. While covering crowded conditions at the police station in May, WBBM reporter Suzanne Limino learned about the girl's health issues and told officers what was happening, and they immediately called for help. Here's Suzanne with her heroic story.
While doing the story about the overcrowding here at the 12th District, I started talking with a family from Colombia, and I learned that the youngest member of that family was in desperate need of medication.
2 meses de que no toma medicamento.
Marjorie Catherine Ramon Martinez told me her 2-year-old granddaughter, Caine, has been without her thyroid medication for the past 2 months since they left Colombia.
En el cuerpecito
She told me inside her little body there are small masses that have been forming under Caine's skin. Her arms have also become swollen. When I asked if they told anyone, she said no. I told the family to come inside the 12th District with me. I translated for the family, telling police about Caine's condition. Police immediately called an ambulance. It arrived within minutes, taking the 2-year-old to Stroger Hospital.
Gracias a Dios, pues llegó usted, señora.
Marjorie thanked me and expressed her gratitude to the police for getting the help her granddaughter so desperately needed. Marjorie and her daughter, 18-year-old Yatsiev Camila Velasquez Ramon, along with her toddler and the baby's father, trekked across a jungle in Panama for 9 days, finally traveling through 5 countries before getting to Texas, then coming to Chicago. ¿Quieres un futuro?
Para mi hija.
Para tu hija.
Sí.
Yatsiev told me she wants a better future for herself and her daughter. Suzanne Limino, CBS News, Chicago.
Suzanne Limino says she has spoken with the family following this report and learned the 2-year-old had an infection and needed antibiotics. She was given an IV and received a 30-day supply of thyroid medication and also received an appointment to see a pediatrician. U.S. officials say the number of migrants approaching the southern border has significantly dropped following the end of the pandemic era, policy that allowed the government to quickly expel migrants. But migrants continue to arrive at the high levels, and today House Republicans held a hearing slamming border police under the Biden administration. Christine Bevilles reports.
Mother Tammy Nobles told a Republican-led House panel Tuesday how her 20-year-old daughter was killed.
I don't want any other parent to live the nightmare that I am living.
Last summer, police say Kayla Hamilton was murdered by an MS-13 gang member. Noble says he had been apprehended at the southern border, then was released into the U.S. as an unaccompanied minor.
The United States government has to secure our border. We need to properly vet all border crossers.
The Biden administration says it is working to do that, stepping up resources to process migrants seeking asylum and increasing deportations.
The vast majority of asylum seekers are coming here because they are fleeing persecution. Many people who come here are not in need of protection, but that's why we need a system that makes that distinction.
A new Biden administration program that allows people to sponsor asylum seekers has already received an overwhelming 1.5 million applications. The Department of Homeland Security says it can only accept 30,000 a month. Tuesday, a group of House lawmakers rolled out a new bipartisan immigration reform bill. They're calling it the Dignity Act.
Waiting for either side's idea of what is perfect is exactly what's gotten us into the situation we face today.
The legislation would provide a pathway to citizenship for some undocumented people, provide billions in border security financed by immigrants, and expedite the asylum claims process. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
A little later, at least 11 people died after an avalanche hit members of a nomadic tribe.
Well, it's time to finalize your Memorial Day plans, but not before you see the forecast. Stay tuned. That's coming up next. You know, when I think of Memorial Day weekend, I think of the hot dogs, of the laying by the pool, grilling out, all the whole 9 yards. We might have some rain, unfortunately, with that. Not a whole lot, though. I'll talk about that here in a second. Let's take a look at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just west of Seneca, Missouri. It's very calm outside. The winds have died down quite a bit since the afternoon, and even then they weren't too extreme at that point. Temperatures still feeling very comfortable, upper 60s, even mid 60s for some people, 65 at Joplin. Stockton, you're at 64. Chanute, you're still hanging on to that 70-degree mark, hanging at 71 degrees right now. So there's still time to get out if you are enjoying the sun, or if you were enjoying the sun this afternoon. This evening will be absolutely beautiful as well. We'll only dip down into the 50s, mid to upper 50s, 58 for Joplin. 55 up a little further north into Garnett. We'll be at 59 degrees as we head into tonight. So pretty consistent across the board. As we head into tomorrow, we'll warm up rather quickly, and we'll also be pretty dry as we have been for a while now. Miami, Joplin, you guys have been on that dry path, nearing that normal range, but a little further west. All of our folks out in Independence, Chanute, Bartlesville, and even in the Wichita region, you guys are in those drier conditions. So be extra cautious as you're out and about. If you're out grilling on your Memorial Day weekend, make sure that you're a little extra cautious of that. Let's look at our precipitation in general for this weekend. We won't have much of a relief, but thankfully the majority of our folks will see that out further west, which is where we need it the most, where those dry conditions are more prominent. Excuse me, my goodness. So temperatures as we head into the morning will start out into the mid to lower 50s. Joplin sitting at 54 when you wake up in the morning. We'll have a couple of clouds here and there. They'll become more periodic. And then as we head into the afternoon, we'll be in the 80s, the lower 80s across the board. Now when you wake up Monday morning on Memorial Day, you could wake up to a couple of showers here and there. Once again, they're very scattered across the board. They'll be a little on the lighter end too, so not much in terms of rainfall totals and accumulation, but the sun should burn that off by the time we get into the afternoon hours, and you'll have that opportunity to really put those outdoor plans into place. 4 p.m., 7 p.m. will be in the 80s with just some clouds here and there. One thing to keep in mind though, that UV index, so make sure that you're still in the shade as much as you can and bring that sunscreen along with you for your outdoor plans. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Temperatures in the 70s and even up into the 80s starting pretty much Wednesday on, 82 on Wednesday, but put that rain on your calendar Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even a chance for rain on Friday and even Saturday.
Tonight is a perfect night, and even tomorrow is a perfect night to have a fire outside. Sit by the fire.
Imagine the s'mores.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
All right, thank you, Chloe.
Yes.
At least 11 people died after an avalanche hit members of a nomadic tribe as they crossed a mountainous area in northern Pakistan. The country's disaster management agency. Another 13 people were injured in the avalanche, which struck a group of families at Shouter Top Pass late on Friday. The pass, which is located at 4,420 meters above sea level, connects the Astor district of the Gilgit Balistan region to the bordering Kalsmer Valley. The bodies of the victims have been recovered. The agency said in a statement, adding that the injured, including a child, have been taken to a local hospital where they are said to be in critical condition. Harsh weather conditions hampered the rescue operation and made access to the remote scene difficult. In summer, the nomads move goat herds from the plains to the high grasslands in the Kashmir Valley and then onwards to the adjoining Gilgit-Baltistan through the Shoulder Pass. Still ahead, lots of action today in professional and college baseball. And Webb City Cardinals are trying to do something they haven't done since 2010. We'll go over the highlights from today's game next in sports.
Well, the Webb City Cardinals are 3 wins away from a state championship. The Cardinals won their district tournament on Monday, and today the Cardinals come back home to host the Class 5 state quarterfinals. So here we go in Webb City. The Cardinals are taking on the Kearney Bulldogs to win or go home situation. So top of the 4th inning, no score. Kinley Hood goes opposite field to get the RBI single. Drew Vonderhaar scores. Webb City strikes first. Cards go up 1-0. So to the top of the 6th now. Close game, tied up 2-2. Interesting play here. Ball outside the zone. Drew Vonderhaar gets stuck in a rundown. He beats it out. Webb City takes the lead. Cardinals go up 3-2. So now we have to play some defense. Walker Sweet on the mound with the bases loaded and 1 out. Throwing some heat, strike 3. But the bases are still loaded. So the fans get up on their feet. Next batter, Sweet again. Did he go? Yes, he did. Strike 3. Webb City gets out of the nail-biting jam. Bottom of the 7th now. Last chance for Kearney. Need anything? Nope. Just looking. Called strike 3, and that's ball game. Webb City survives. The Cardinals defeat the Kearney Bulldogs 3-2. Webb City advances to Ozark, Missouri, where they will play in the state semifinals.
I believe, we've played in this game 6 times since I've been at Webb City, and it's the first time we've ever won it. So it's a great feeling for these kids. I know they're super excited.
Kind of knew we were going to do it, but I kind of misread it a little bit. Didn't quite see the ball back to the pitcher, but it worked out, and it was a big spot in the game. It gave us a lot of energy. Going into the postseason, we've been taking it, 1 step at a time. Completed step 4 of 6 today, so we're looking forward to taking on step 5 on next Friday.
I think as a team, we like to think that we're better than the other team. And I think we have that swagger and that component to us. And so as we come in, our mindsets, we're better than you, and we're going to show it. And as you can see, we kind of did it today, and we just let it go.
Well, the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals are in action this weekend. Both teams have interleague matchups. The Royals are home against the Nationals today. Washington beats Kansas City 4-2. Royals are now on a 3-game losing streak. However, Salvador Perez does go 2 for 4 with a solo home run. And the St. Louis Cardinals are on the road tonight against the Cleveland Guardians. Cardinals win this game 2-1 in extra innings. Brandon Donovan, what a season he's had. He goes 1 for 2 with a solo home run. St. Louis has now evened up the series. Well, the Big 12 baseball tournament is in full swing in Arlington, Texas. Only 4 teams remain in the tournament so far. The Kansas State Wildcats have had a terrific season so far, plus a good showing in the Big 12 tournament. However, today the Wildcats lose to TCU 6-3. Horned Frogs move on to the Big 12 championship game. K-State will have to wait and see if they can make the NCAA regionals as an at-large team. On the other side of the bracket, the Oklahoma State Cowboys are taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Cowboys win 8-1 in Game 1, so OSU has to beat Tech twice in order to move on. So in Game 2, Oklahoma State comes all the way back, and the Pokes were down 5-0, and they win the game off of a walk-off home run from Aiden Miola. The Cowboys meet the TCU Horned Frogs in the Big 12 championship game tomorrow at 5 Central. Final note now, shifting gears to softball, the Oklahoma Sooners once again advance the Women's College World Series. They defeat the Clemson Tigers 8-7 in extra innings in the Norman Super Regional. So the Webb City Cardinals are moving on once again, first time since 2010. They'll be headed to the state semifinals.
And then, do I need to say it, or do you want to say it?
We want to say Boomer Sooner.
It's funny watching them, Chloe and Brock, talk about OU with
Got a little
softball.
rivalry going on.
No, yeah, it's fun. I like to be in the middle of it. All right, well, we'll be right back after this. 2 sloth bear cubs made their public debut at the Philadelphia Zoo this week. Their arrival is celebrated as an important conservation win for this threatened species. Born on January 2nd to their mom Kayla and their dad Balyu, the male twins lived in the den under their mother's care until they were ready to step into the outdoor habitat. The zoo is asking that the public to help name the 2 adorable cubs by voting on its website, with options narrowed down to 2 choices with a Philadelphia connection. The twins' birth, the first pair in Philadelphia 30 years, marked an important milestone for conservation of the species, which is listed as a vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature.
How precious.
They were really furry. All right, well, tell us what we have going on in the weather this week.
Yeah, well, Monday morning you might wake up to a couple of stray showers here and there, but that'll fade off, fizzle out pretty quickly as you head into your Memorial Day afternoon plans.
All right.
Webb City baseball, congrats to them. Off in a great season so far, and at worst they'll finish in 4th place in state, so they will at least play 2 games next week in Ozark.
And you can say it.
Center. I've said it like 10 times today.
It's funny. I'm just starting fights, really. That's all I'm doing. All right, well, that's our time now. Thanks for making us a part of your nights.